Hello, this is Jim Gooden with Analog Photography again. Every time I mix up Caffeinol, which is a homegrown developer that is kind of the fundamentals of developer for black and white film and I guess expired color film that you don't care about the color because it won't do. But it's a neat thing. It's seemingly maybe less toxic. A lot of debate about that, but in my opinion, from what I know, it's better for pouring down the drain. I always forget to document this, and I just started mixing some up for a couple of direct positive prints I'm going to process. So this is, I use a formula called Delta Standard, and I use it both for direct positive paper. It's not paper negatives, it's literally Ilford's process to make a print from the positive piece of paper. So it's akin to film in this respect, so I use it for that, and I use it for film that I've ran a range of black and white films, including X-ray film. Anyhow, this is Delta Standard. It's usually abbreviated STD. So you got to trust me. I just began. This formula works with 500 milliliters of water here. I can show there, which goes in a Stearman tank there in the background that I'm going to use. It holds about 450 milliliters of water. So I always mix a little bit more. But I just did the baking soda, which is part of this. The formula is that I'm doing is 12 grams baking soda. You really need a scale to weigh. 12 grams baking soda, 10 grams of vitamin C, and 22 and a half grams of the cheapest instant coffee you can get. And that generally works out to make this brownish, dark brown substance you'll see in a little bit that will process film. So I have put in 12 grams of washing soda. I think I said baking soda. It's washing soda, which is this stuff, which is I've taken out of the commercial bag. It looks like a lot of things, doesn't it? But in this case, this is washing soda. It's important that it be the powder or crystal form. So I've put in 12 grams of washing soda in there, which is nicely dissolved by now. I did that before I decided to document this because I always forget that it would be good if I documented this for people. So next up is going to be vitamin C, and I need 2 hands to put it in the bowl. So I'm going to do 10 grams of that, and we will return here in a moment. Okay, so we have 10 grams of vitamin C. I first dealt with the powders that little vitamin C tablets that I broke up, and that's a real mess to do. You can do it with a mortar and pestle, but it takes time, and then you got to really announce. But I, in the end, found this great bag of vitamin C, ascorbic acid, on Amazon, and I've been using it, and it's a whole lot easier to dissolve. So we got 10 grams of vitamin C that I am going to pour. Wait a minute, let me see that. It is indeed 10 grams of vitamin C, and we're going to pour that in with the washing soda here. Boop, there it goes. Leaves a little bit in the bowl. I'll shake it out. All right, that'll be close enough. Put the coffee on top of that. All right, so there it is, and stir it up. I started wearing gloves doing this because I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't know that this is, like I said, this is pretty friendly. You could probably even drink it. I wouldn't recommend that at all. Disclaimer, don't drink it. It's we know the coffee and we know the vitamin C, how that'd go. I assume that the washing soda probably would make you throw up. But anyhow, disclaimer. So there is our vitamin C, nicely dissolved in there. It's good to mix the parts up one at a time. So I always start with the washing soda. I'll get that good and dissolved, stir it up, get it dissolved. Then I do the vitamin C, stir it up, get it dissolved, and then we'll add the coffee. That'll be next. So stopping. All right, so I use the Craysdale Instant Coffee, and there I am. I've got 22.6, 22.6, 22.5. It generally vacillates on my scale, but you want to go for 22.5 grams of instant coffee, and then we pour that in. And interestingly, the instant coffee dissolves the fastest of these three components. So you stir that up till it's nicely dissolved. And that's really all for the Elford direct positive paper. For high-speed emulsion films, it's recommended to put about 3 grams for 500 milliliters of water, about 3 grams of iodized salt. That it's said that helps with fogging. I've religiously done that with film. It's unnecessary for the paper here. And some formulas say with the slower speed, the salt isn't necessary. You can get information about all this. There's a website. If you'll go to caffeinol.org, and I believe that resolves to the right thing. I'll put the correct address in the description. So we're stirring that up, and it's pretty much dissolved. But I tend to let it stir. I tend to stir it up for a while, and then it's encouraged to let it set a little bit before you pour it in the tank. Yeah. All right, so we'll stir that up. Again, this is Caffeinol, coffee-based developer, Delta Standard formula. There are a number of different recipes, and there's a great group on Facebook called Caffeinol that I've gotten a lot of information from, and also, as I said, the website I referred to, caffeinol.org. And again, I'll put the correct link in the description. And then that's the recipe. So for what I'm doing, this is going to be 11 minutes in the developer. Then I do a combination water rinse and stop bath. And for stop bath, I use 100 milliliters of white vinegar and 400 milliliters of water. So I do about 4-minute rinse, and then I do a minute of the stop bath. And then I use Photographer's Foundry TF4 fixer for 7 minutes to do the fixing process. And then when that's all done, I do about an hour wash for these prints. If it's film, you can get by with 5-minute regular agitation wash, and then use some kind of photo flow reducing agent at the end. I meant to mention about agitation with Caffeinol. For this formula, I do about 15 seconds agitation per minute of the 11 minutes, and I also do agitation in the fix, about the same formula. All right, so that's making Caffeinol. And I'll put the recipe breakdown in the description, but put your questions and comments. Thanks again for watching Jim Gooden Analog Photography again. Consider subscribing to the channel if you've not, and all good things. Bye-bye.